Hello everyone. Hope everyone is doing good. So, in this video, we are going to talk about the most important and most recent ask interview question in JavaScript, which is about event flow. And to understand this event flow, we should be knowing the core concept of JavaScript and how the code is executed, what is blocking and non-blocking, asynchronous and synchronous code. So let's talk first of all by understanding how the execution process works in JavaScript. So first of all, there is a blocking code, blocking, blocking code, and other is non-blocking code, non-blocking code. This is also known as synchronous, and this is non-synchronous, synchronous, right? This is executed line by line execution, execution. Oh, sorry, my bad. Execution from top to bottom, from top to bottom, right? And this is, it's not line by line, not line by line. This is executed on the main thread, executed on main thread, and this is not executed on main thread, on main thread. What do we mean now, Rajat? What do you mean by not executing in main thread or executing in main thread? So whenever we are writing a function, let's say I'm writing a function over here, function main, and I'm just giving an example of blocking code, which is asynchronous code. We will be having an add function over here, which will add 20 and 30. Let's say, why not? Subtract 20 and 30. Why not again? Maybe do okay, maybe just declare a variable where a is equal to 10. Maybe just loop for later I is equal to 0, I less than a, I plus plus, and console dot log I, right? And this is the, so how this has been executed. So we are having a concept of call stack. So whenever the function is been called, so this is the call stack, call stack. And now whenever the function is been called, suppose first of all the main function, because the execution will be starting from here, right? So main function will be sitting on the top of the stack. And now it will go in the second line. Now the second line will be sitting on the top of the stack, right? And it will get executed because this function needs to execute first before going to the another function calls, right? So this will go to its implementation. Suppose we have the implementation of add like this, a comma b, and we are just console.log a plus b. That's all. So here it will again console.log will be sitting on this thing, console.log whenever the cursor will be here, right? Console.log, and it will just print. Whenever it will print, it will just go away from the call stack. So now we have to remove this thing from the call stack, right? And again this function will be going out of the call stack, right? And we can just see this thing, right? We not like this. Now the cursor will be over here, right? Now this function call will be again over here, 2030. And whenever the execution has been done, we have to, oh, sorry, uh, we have to just take it out, right? So this thing we have to take this out, right? And the s also, right? Done. This execution has been done, and we get the value printed on the screen, right? This is how. Now again this var will execute this. I'm really sorry about this thing. Yeah, this call will execute. uh Again, this call will execute. It will go into for loop. Again, this will execute. Again, this will execute. And now the main function have to go away from the call stack. And this is how the execution works, right? This is how the execution works in JavaScript. And this will complete its execution, right? So that's all. And the call stack is empty and the execution has been done. This is how the blocking codes works and the synchronous code works. It will just go from top to bottom and execute everything. But what about non-blocking code? What about asynchronous code? So let me give you an example of asynchronous code first. So suppose we have to make an API call. So suppose we have to make an API call. API calls, API calls. Right? We are depending on the other server to give our data back. And is it okay? Just give me an answer whether it is okay to wait for that data to come. Okay, I will sit back. My application will sit back stable. It will not execute anything. It will just wait for the result to come, and then we'll go proceed further, right? This is how nobody will be like waiting for this much long time, right? So how then now this all the things will be executing, right? This is the main question. This was the main question while developing and uh, developing and creating an architecture of JavaScript. Then now what they have done, they have bring the concept of asynchronous program. Asynchronous programming. Suppose suppose we have an API call. Suppose we have to write and read operations. Suppose from a file. This is a blocking code, right? We don't know whether the file is there or not, whether we have to create a file, whether we have to send the data to the file or read some data from the file. We don't know. And maybe that might be heavy file, suppose 2 GB, 3 GB files. We have to read that file. It will take some time, right, to read that. Should our code be sitting idle and wait the task to be completed? No, right? It should execute. It should execute. Um, it should execute. It should not block by some another piece of code which is taking some time, right? So what JavaScript have done is like this like calls which are asynchronous, synchronous. These calls will be sent outside the main thread. Will be sorry will be sent outside the main thread for execution, right? And now, Rajat, what do you mean by sending outside the main thread? So it will be executing in the background process. This calls will be executing in background process. Background process. So now let me give you an graphical example of this thing. So now we are having a call stack like this. Call stack, a favorite. This is the background process. And here we have one another component which is call stack. Oh, sorry. Event queue. My bad. Event queue. Whenever whenever we are writing a code which is having an asynchronous uh, call, the call will come over here. So the call will be coming to, first of all, whenever there is a call, it will come to call stack. Just remember that thing. So this is asynchronous code, AC. This will be coming into the call stack, and call stack will know, yeah, this is the asynchronous code. It should not get executed right away in the main thread, but it should be executing while I execute some another uh, instruction in the code. It should go and execute in the background process. So what call stack will do, it will send this thing to this one over here. That's all. And now here, the execution will be happening. Execution will happen. And if we have some another code of piece of code, suppose we have another piece of like looping or some non some blocking codes, it will just get executed over here meantime. Right, this will executing, and this will be executing in the parallel. How cool is that, right? And whenever we have the data ready with our execution, the callback will be triggered. A callback is a piece of code. Whenever the execution has been ready, a callback has been called. This is how the functionality will be discussing callbacks in another videos, where you will get all the things about the callbacks and how to handle an asynchronous request and all. But yeah, the callbacks are the function which are responsible to execute when the data has been ready. And whenever the data has been ready, the callback will be triggered, and the callback will be sitting. So now the now this thing this thing will move from here to here, here to here. And this is how event queue will be coming into picture. Whenever the data has been ready and the response has been ready of any operation, asynchronous operation, it will send it to event queue. And now event queue will be responsible to send this data from event queue to callback. But how it is been done? Now there is a loop which will come into picture, and that is the most important thing in JavaScript, which is event loop. Now the event loop will be sitting over here watching. This is event loop. Event loop. This will be sitting over here and watching whether I have something in my event queue. Yes, I do have. And if my call stack is been empty or not. That is the most important point you have to remember, guys. The event loop will only check event queue when the call stack is empty. Now the call stack is being filled by three processes, as you can see over here. It will not check the event queue. Now let me remove this thing. Now suppose this execution has been done. Suppose this execution has been done, right? This execution has been done. This execution has been done. Now my call stack is empty. Yeah, true. Whether I'm having something in event queue, yeah, I do have. Now the event loop, now the event loop, now the event loop will send this thing, send this callback in the call stack to get executed. And the call stack will be responsible for executing this thing. Now I have data as well. My all the non-blocking code and the blocking code has been executed. I have the data, process it and execute it. That's all. Right? And this will be executed. And once this is executed, it will just we have to just remove it from the call stack, right? This will get removed. This will get removed, right? All right. And this is how like the conversion of the blocking code to a non-blocking code, and again to the blocking code has been done. And this is how the event loop works. Hope you understand an in and out of how the event loop works, why it is important concept um, in JavaScript. And yeah, so that's all, I guess. about this video. Hope you like this, and whether you have some doubts, just list down in the comments below. And if you like this video, please subscribe to this channel and just hit the like button so that I get motivated to create some another videos just like that. See you in the next video. Thank you.